Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show where, after the collision, we sift through
the wreckage.
I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams, and he is our co-host, the magnanimous, glorious, the ever handsome, the Professor, Chabelo Vera Cruz. And we are live on Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, on the Patreon after the fact. And before I get started, I just want to say, whoever deleted the Wreckage video, I'm after them. Whoever that was, that's why there was a little delay there, boys. So just so you know. But anyway, fellas, another huge week in professional wrestling, no doubt, especially after all these recent releases that we got by WWE. And Vet, I'll start with you. How do you feel about most of these releases? For me, some of them really should have been gone a long time ago, but others I'm surprised about.
Well, I don't have the whole list memorized, so do you have it in front of you to maybe refresh my memory on some of these?
I will in a moment, but we can start. I already know where we can start. How do you feel about all the Wyatts getting released?
Yeah, it just wasn't. Look, I never liked the gimmick, but that's not on the individuals necessarily. So like I hate to pile on, but that gimmick was, first of all, I'm talking about ever. Like, not when it was one Swamp Hillbilly, not when it was three Swamp Hillbillies, not when it was, this current version with the Uncle Howdies and all this stuff. I've never liked it. I don't like supernatural gimmicks in wrestling. I never have. It doesn't work. It can never work. So that's why it didn't work for me, but we're talking about people's livelihoods and their, everything like that. So I'm not wishing that anybody necessarily lose their job, but if the WWE is not, I've always said this, if the WWE is not interested in using people, then they need to stop paying people. That's just a business fact of life. So, and it's funny enough that I was actually listening to my own shit from like 6 years ago, from about this time. And there was another slate of releases, which I like to bring up later after we're kind of done talking about this. So remind me to circle back to that. Okay. But 6 years ago, we got a massive slate of releases on one day that would be very interesting to compare to these names that we have today in terms of like, wow, you really let these people go. So do you have the list yet, Jim?
I do, as a matter of fact. If you want me to continue down with the releases, I was just wanting to put it up, but I'll just read them out. So these are the latest round of releases so far, and apparently there could be more, but this is the list as we have it right now. We got Andre Chase, unfortunately, has been released. Alba Fire, Alistair Black, Apollo Cruz, obviously Bo Dallas / Uncle Howdy, Chris Island, Dante Chen, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Kairi Sane, which is a shocker, Luca Crucifino, Malik Blade, Motor City Machine Guns, Nikki Cross, Santos Escobar, Sienna Linton, Tara May Steele, Tyreek, Tyson, Zelina Vega, and Zoe Stark. That's the list.
Order, Professor.
Yeah, it was. Not that I meant it that way. That's just how the list was looking. But for me, I've been calling to release the Wyatts at this point. I hate to say it, man. I don't mean this in a personal way, but they don't suit today's WWE. It just doesn't. And they don't even know what to do with them anyway, on top of that. But these guys are not meant for this current version of WWE. I feel like they'll be more successful elsewhere, possibly in AEW. Heck, even JCW. I'm hearing Vince has been on the phone with these guys, maybe going to work there. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they will find work, but it just didn't work for me in WWE. I mean, Prof, how do you feel about this whole situation with the Wyatts?
Well, since we are the Wreckage, It's
Yeah.
Christmas time for somebody behind my back right now. So he's looking at who he's gonna have to call. But that's the humorous part. But the business end and the life end is like no one wants to get that kind of call. No one wants to get
Right.
notified that their career is over in the WWE. But it's a look at it from this way. Like years ago, Matt Cardona has said it. It's an opportunity. You either dwell on the past of being a WWE name, or you prove them wrong, make a name for yourself, go out into the indies, make a lot of money, and make WWE pay twice as much to get you back. So you look at it from that standpoint. And from the standpoint of the people that were released, this past weekend, I think the only name that I will say that made zero sense is Kairi Sane. I mean, was in the top, she was on TV weekly. She was in a very heavy program that was slow burn and Easter egg to death. And TKO just said put the kibosh on that one. So that one made zero sense. I'm with Vet on the Wyatt Six. I just think that gimmick, I want to say, was doomed to fail, but it's a Bray Wyatt gimmick. You can't have the Wyatt Six without Bray Wyatt. I'm sorry, Bo Dallas was trying to carry the mantle, carry the torch, but it's not his. It's Bray's.
Right.
So it's like, trying to recreate the Four Horsemen without anybody that was involved with the Four Horsemen. You can't do it. You can't do the NWO without Hogan, Hall, and Nash in some sort of fashion. You cannot spin the wheel. You got to just create your own gimmick. As far as Apollo Crews goes, damn, he was there for 10 years. So he got a paycheck. So God bless him. But now this is a great opportunity for him to prove the Matt Cardona point. Go out into the indies, make some more money. And if he wants to go back to WWE, they're going to have to pay double him. But the guy behind my back, I heard of a person called Uha Nation back in 2015. Uha Nation was somebody. So again, I'm not saying that Uha Nation is a needle changer for Dynamite purposes, Jimmy, but give Uha Nation a chance for TNT and TBS. That's what I'll say about that. And one more thing I'll say with the list of names, there was one name that was kind of weird. They let go of a girl. What was the name? Tyra May Steele, Jimmy? What was that name?
That's the one. No, you're right. That's exactly
She
what
was not even in the developmental stage. She was not even on NXT. She was on that LFG. So that tells you how like corporate this, releases are. When you go that low on the rung to LFG to let somebody go, wow, that speaks volumes right there. Because the old point was like, for all the NXT call-ups, right, guys? You go up to the main roster. It's the circle of life. Some people on the main roster is on the chopping block. Your time is done. So those releases are natural. But when you go as low as LFG, guys, that just tells you either you did not impress the hell out of anybody, or something is wrong with the TKO corporate structure. For budget cuts, LFG ain't paying no millions and millions of dollars. Maybe she was on an NIL deal, so maybe that was why he was trying to release her. But again, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, optically, LFGI, wow, that's weird. That's all I'll say.
That is weird. Vet, how do you feel about Aleister Black and his girl obviously being released? He didn't even get a chance, to be honest.
Yeah, he got somewhat of a chance. But just to talk about the Tyra May Steele thing.
Okay, for it.
Olympic gold medalist, first of all. Secondly, did actually make appearances on Evolve and an NXT debut. And then after she made her NXT debut, they quickly pulled her off of television. So I just find that one interesting because, like you said, Professor, perhaps there was some other monetary reason, because of Olympic gold medalist, right? So, okay, maybe we really thought we had something, and maybe you really did. I think the most famous thing that involved her was that kind of went viral a little bit was something about her cutting a promo about smiling or something. If you guys remember when, I guess when Bubba was a coach on that show and he said something like he didn't want to see her smiling, and she cut this promo about how like she this, that, and the other thing. There's a reason why she smiles or whatever like that. So like she went viral for Bubba criticizing her for smiling. Like that's the first thing we think about. We don't think about an Olympic gold medal or whatever. I've seen worse debut matches, so I don't think that was the problem. But I just think that's funny. And the reason I want to bring it back to April of 2020. Okay. Now we had obviously a different situation in the world around that time, but I do think that regardless of the situation, I think that you will find this list of people very interesting, especially when you compare it to today. So I'm going to go through some of these. I'm going to go through these names of the people just released in the month of April of 2020. Okay. No specific. Okay. MJ Jenkins, Dash Wilder. You may remember him. Scott Dawson. You may remember him. Aiden English. Billy Kidman as a producer. Now, a lot of these producers came back.
Right. He's back now.
Yeah.
Right.
Chris Guy was a coach. Kurt Hawkins. Deanna Parazzo. Drake Maverick, who you may know as Rockstar Spud.
Yeah.
He came right back. Remember, he cut the crying promo like, my dream. And then they hired him to do an angle because they fired him even though he was booked in a tournament. So they had to bring him back and be like, you work these matches for free? Well, I guess we'll just rehire you since you have to work it. EC3 released.
Wow.
Epico Cologne. Eric Young.
Damn.
Eric Rowan.
Again.
Fit Finley as a coach. Heath Slater. Josiah Williams was some interviewer guy. Carl Anderson. Kendo Kashin was a coach. Kurt Angle was an Olympic gold medalist that was working as a producer. And they were like, take a hike. Lance Storm. Okay. Leo Rush. Luke Gallows. Maria Kanellis. Matt Cardona. Mike Chioda. Mike Kanellis. They have this Mike Kanellis here on this list. But Mike Bennett, you would know him as. Mike Rotunda. No Way Jose. Primo Cologne. Rusev. Sarah Logan. Scott Armstrong as a producer. Serena Deeb as a coach. Shane Helms as a producer. Sean Davari as a producer. Cassius Ono. Cesar Bononi. Pat Buck. Tainara Conti. Tino Sabatelli. Some guy I'm not even going to try to pronounce that nobody would know. Cain Velasquez.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And Curtis Axel.
He was still there?
Now, isn't that an interesting list of names when you contrast it? Some of these people have been released twice on the same month in 6 years.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a lot, though, man. Especially,
but there's a difference.
You know who was released also in July of that year? Kairi Sane.
But she wanted it out that time, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I'm just saying these people were gone.
Wasn't Bray as well released around this time?
Well, later that year, Zelina Vega also.
Okay.
I think his contract went down when expired, Jimmy, on Bray's situation, and then
it was 2020, wasn't it, when it happened?
I think it was, and then he came back after, but I think he let his contract run.
Well, that could be why he's not on this list.
Yeah,
right. No, you're right.
But looking at that list, Vet, and looking at the circumstance, we know it was the pandemic. We know it was COVID, but we also know that WWE was trying. I'm not going to say was trying to like increase profits, but again, you look at that list.
Right off. A lot of these guys were tax write-offs.
Yeah, they were tax write-offs, whatever you want to call it. But again, the circumstances was different with the COVID pandemic, and then operating budgets. There was no fans, and WWE was really playing it a little bit more smaller scale with the performance center. No no crowds, and then they rented a building in Florida all for that whole year. So I'm not giving no excuse for WWE, but again, it's the circle of life. Like I said, they always do this after every WrestleMania. And those names, again, from the Good Brothers to Eric Young, the best thing I could say is thank goodness there are options. There's MLW, there's AEW, there's New Japan. Maybe the pay scale is a little bit smaller, but the opportunities are bigger. And if you go out there, kick ass, you'll demand the money that you earned and you deserve. That's the only thing I'll say about
this
that.
is one of the reasons that I wanted to bring that list up is AEW did exist. And that's where some of these people went, like Rusev, for example. But that's the thing. Like when we're talking about people like, that have gotten released just this past week, some of this was they did go out, they did get their name out there, they did get rehired, and now they're released again. Will there be a third chance or a fourth chance? Some of these people have been released so many times. And so I don't know at this point. I don't know if that whole, hey, go make a name for yourself, kid, and come back thing is going to be happening anymore. I think this is going to be like, hit that road, Jack, and don't you come back.
No more?
No more.
Oh, shit. That's
I kind of disagree, but I think it's always, again, a business thing. If you can demand it, and if you can, do what you do in the indies and all that stuff, of course they will call you back. But again, you could be more cynical. You could be more businesslike and just demand the money. That's if it's all about the money, that's the only thing. I would, if I get I'll use the old baseball analogy. People might not get this. Billy Martin, Jimmy, New York Yankees, back in the 80s. He got fired 4 times, got rehired 5 times. Because George Steinbrenner just was so delusional in the way he was operating the Yankees. He always wanted a winner. He always wanted to be in the World Series and stuff like that. But somehow, in some way, he used Billy Martin's kind of dream of being the Yankees manager against him. But he brought him back. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is looking at the WWE as Billy Martin, like, oh, I need to come back. I need to come back. If you're smart enough and you have the business sense, you will come back. But you know your reality, too. Look at Aleister Black. Now, people might say that's weird, but maybe I'll just say this. This is my own conspiracy theory. He might have signed a 1-year tender, right? With an option. Maybe, and looked at the reality, like, oh, nothing's going on here. There's rumors in the dirty sheets. I don't want to say like he was supposed to be involved in the storyline between Cody Rhodes.
Right.
He was supposed to be the guy that Pat McAfee replaced. So that's dirty. How many nights? I don't want to speculate on that, but let's just use that analogy. So let's say in hindsight, guys, Aleister Black got kicked to the side for Pat McAfee, but he was on a 1-year tender. I don't want to resign. You just dropped me from the main event. You just dropped me from maybe 6 months of booking. You just dropped me from the main event scene. I could have been challenging Cody Rhodes in this during the spring and summer. You stopped me from that. So business-wise, I don't want to resign with y'all. I'll explore my options anyway. I'll explore MLW. I might go back to AEW because I can look at Aleister Black and Selena Vega to go to AEW to join somebody. There's a character that's floundering right now that I said was viral. Me and Stevie said use him and capitalize. Leo Rush. You know who could use Leo? You know who could use this? Leo Rush. Leo Rush be like, yes, Aleister, let's bring them in. I could be with them. Again, it's a short viral moment. But I'm just giving you circumstances. But I'm just saying, like, you never know the circumstances even for the releases. The only one that doesn't make sense is Kairi Sane. Everybody else, you can make certain business sense.
I just want to quickly rebuff that one for a second. Going by Zelina Vega's reaction with Sean Ross Sapp, I don't think he was planning on leaving WWE, in my opinion, just going by her reaction to it. But in saying that, I have the feeling that Aleister Black, and I don't know this guy personally, obviously, I'm just speculating, just going by the way he just comes across, I think he doesn't really push his own agenda like at all. Doesn't ask for it. What have you got for me? He comes across as just, I'm just going to chill until someone comes to me and gives me something to do. And I think that works against him, in my opinion, if he's like that. I could be way off, but that's just the impression I get with him. And I think that's why, in some ways, he doesn't get what he feels maybe that he deserves, because he doesn't actually make a play for himself. Maybe he's not a political type of guy either. And whether you like it or not, unfortunately, when it comes to pro wrestling, you got to be a prick to get somewhere, it seems, by playing the political game. Otherwise, it seems like you get nowhere. And what I fear now, there's these dirty rumors going around that Royce Keys could even possibly get released soon. Possibly. I don't think so. But it wouldn't surprise me. Even Matt Cardona getting released again, even though he just got hired, it wouldn't surprise me if he got released. So I don't know what's going on here, but like you said, Curry Saint is the real weird one. But we don't know if she wanted to leave either. We don't know that, because she did want to go in the past. I have no idea what's going on, but it's weird. We'll see what happens there.
Let me do this. I'm going to rebuff it, but I need Vet's opinion on this, because he is the wrestler. He's been through those trenches and stuff like that. Without social media, Vet, maybe a wrestler back 20 years ago, before Twitter was a thing, right? If you're working for WWE, or let's say AEW was, or TNA or something like that, and you're getting a steady paycheck, but you're not being booked, without social media, without the IWC, like reminding you, let's just say, Vet, you're not on TV every week. You're not yada yada yada. You're not on the big programs. You're the catering world champion. Does that eat at you? Like, what do you want? If there wasn't Twitter, you'd probably be like, I got a steady paycheck. All I have to do is be in the arenas. All I have to do is be on time. Whatever they need from me, I'll be happy with it. Or is it today's generation of wrestlers like, I got to get the time. I got to do this, yada, 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 all that stuff?
It's down to a person. You can't make a blanket statement for everyone that they'll be either this way or that. It's not today's wrestlers versus yesterday's wrestlers. There are plenty of wrestlers back in the day that were more than content to come and collect a paycheck at whatever, wherever they were working and not do anything. And then there's some people that, just like, speaking for myself, I wouldn't want to feel like I'm getting a handout. Like, I would want to feel like I'm earning my money, especially when you're making that, the high dollar endeavor money. I definitely, even as much as I like that money, I would prefer to earn it. That's not to say I won't just take it. And I think that's the thing about guys like Alistair, who I don't know personally. But I just I don't see him or anybody else there saying, man, this sucks. I want to go to MLW. There's not a person alive that's going to leave their financial situation to go, work in a bingo hall. So it's frustrating when you're not being used, especially if you feel like you could contribute, or especially in his case, if he was like right on the precipice of being used, coming off, he had like his angle with Damian Priest, and I didn't enjoy it, but it was something for him to do at least. It kept him busy on TV. But that's actually more of a surprising one to me than Kyrie, because there could have been some other extenuating circumstance behind Kyrie, but pretty sure Alistair, he just came back not that long ago, so it's kind of like, I feel like that probably should have taken a little bit longer to run its course. But as far as Zelina Vega is concerned, though, if I remove myself personally, again, nothing against her as a person, nothing against, somebody losing their job, but like, we've seen Zelina Vega for many years, bad wrestler, bad promo, pretty girl. They're a lot prettier. Doesn't really bring anything to the table, but she's collecting a check, right? Remember that time when they had the whole, like, Santos Escobar's faction and things, or even before that, they just had just like a group of Mexican wrestlers and she was just there, like, just there. Like, yeah, this woman has made a lot of money in this business, but
Absolutely.
has she made a lot of money for the business? Has she made any money for the business? I don't know. So I can look at you look at that as like an easy choice. And maybe they look at it as simple as, well, we have to cut this dead weight, but this dead weight is attached to something. And then they have to weigh out the option. Like, would it just be easier not to split them up and lose Alistair's contract too? And that way we can get even more money off? You know, like, do we really need him that bad? Nice guy. We could do something with him, but do we really want to? Is it worth it? Would it be much better to let the albatross just, sink? Like, is it better to just do that?
And weren't they replacing? I'm sorry, but weren't they replacing Killer Cross and Scarlett from doing that kind of role?
Which I'd much rather have. But it's, what I'd rather have is, to be honest, what I'd rather have is both those guys and neither of those girls. But I mean, if we're talking business only, right? Like, there's more business there, but I could cut all four of them and I can deal, if this whole thing, if everything is about the money, like you're saying, that's why it's the same venue 2 years in a row. That's why it's the ticket hikes. That's why it's the cuts. That's why this, that's why that. We are in debt and we are trying to get out of the debt, and we can't get out of the debt by what these people are bringing in. There's not one person on this list that I could see making a financial difference to the company in the state it is now. And that's just cut and dried, black and white, emotionally uninvested. That's, I love Kyrie to death. You know what I mean? So, like, if it's my personal decision, I'm going to try to find a way to keep her and see if I can save some money somewhere else.
Right.
But at the same time, if we lose her, how much are we losing in terms of, the merch and, and all of that. So it's always unfortunate when these things happen. But
it just goes to show you guys, and then we can go on to the next subject. Jimmy, I'll just say this. Look at Danhausen. Danhausen's value is exponential in comparison to the whole list that you just read off.
It actually is.
He wrestles for 2 or 3 minutes against The Miz or Kip Wilson. And that's way more valuable. And the merch sales, just like Vet is talking about how many nights, way more valuable than the entire list that Jimmy just read off. That just shows you supply and demand right there. Yeah. Danhausen is more economically sound for TKO than the whole list right there.
True. And they know they can pay Danhausen less because he's going to get bonuses on top of what his baseline is. So regardless of that, but on the other side of the coin though, I will say that, like, as far as the cold calculating business aspect of it, but those are bean counters that are way above anything that WWE is doing. Like, nobody in WWE is necessarily making these decisions. Triple H may be able to try to make a case to save somebody if he wants. But overall, he's not the one that's coming down with the axe on these people.
Right.
It's not his choice individually. They're probably looking at, look, you got to lose this many people. You know what I mean? So on the other side of it, if we're talking about what people bring to the table, but you are a promotion, don't ever forget the word promotion. You are supposed to promote your talent. If they are not bringing in revenue for you, that is a failing of you. You did not promote this talent. You paid this talent and you did not develop them or promote them to the level that you could get a return on your investment. That's bad business on the company's part. So don't ever forget that other aspect of that when we're talking about it. It's not 100% up to these. They can't book themselves. They can't write their own angles. Right. They can't do they can't do any of that stuff. They have to show up for work and hope for the best for the most part. They can pitch ideas, but as you've seen in the past, sometimes pitching ideas can make you less favorable because people are like, this guy has too many ideas. Get him out of here. Get him out of my face. They don't want that. They say they do until they get it. Then they don't want it. Right. That's the whole reason I'm sitting here, because the wrestling business doesn't care about ideas. They don't want your ideas. They don't want to hear your ideas. They're not interested in your ideas, you know? And the minute I figured that out, I was like, yeah, I'll probably find another line of work.
And that would be frustrating too, having to feel that way, Vet.
It is, but that's part of the game that you just accept. Like, you know, right, that's part of it, or you should. But it is a two-way street. You have to prepare yourself in all the ways you could prepare. Your gear, your appearance, you know, like those kind of things, and your performance, your attitude, you know, your work ethic and availability. You know, if you make all the shows on time, if you do all that stuff, you do everything that you can. You're the Matt Cardona, always ready, always have a tan, always got your gear, always got a merch idea, whatever it is, always ready. That's all you can do. But at the same time, that's all you can do. Now they have to see the same vision that you have, then they have to promote you in a way to make money with you. Right. Some of these people, even like you could go down the from the card from the top, and you couldn't find me, like me personally, like if you bring a name to me, there's not one person you could probably bring to me that I couldn't say you could do this better, and this better, even as much as you like. Roman Reigns, anyone from Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, whoever the top guy, Cody Rhodes, any of the top guys that you're talking about, I could tell you 3 or 4 ways that they could do even better with those guys. Now imagine being an Apollo Cruz trying to get over this whole time. You know? Of course there's ways you could do better. So
you mean that Equalizer character he did on NXT didn't work?
Uh-huh.
You was praising it every Wednesday on the Next Level podcast. You was like, Apollo Crews Equalizer was money.
Don't actually recall praising it per se, but I did say that somebody in the writers' room in NXT is a very, very big fan of the Equalizer, because they tried to give that gimmick to another black guy, and he was released way sooner than Apollo Crews. So, but somebody likes that gimmick of being able to see the future. Let me tell you, I can't wait to see who the next guy can.
I just hope Yuha Nation doesn't join the Hurt Syndicate. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, that's the strong rumors going around. For me personally, he does not suit the group. He just doesn't. He's kind of like a Cedric Alexander in terms
of... Hold up, Jimmy.
Wait, hold on.
In 2020, his best gimmick was being the African Prince of Wakanda, and I loved it when he was the Intercontinental Champion. If I could believe that, then I could believe him in a tailor-made suit being part of the Hurt Syndicate as Uha Nation. It could work.
You did not believe that, Professor. You did not. Stop. You did not believe it.
I mean, come on, man. I just don't want to see that at all. No, I'm not giving him ideas, Josh, just quietly. That's the rumor going around, that he's possibly joining the Hurt Syndicate, and God knows he probably will. And I hate to say it, he probably will end up joining. But look, we can talk about this all night, obviously, boys. We have already spoken a good 30 minutes about all these releases, but we'll see what happens in the future for all of them. You know, unfortunately for them, they do have to look for a new line of work, but I'm sure most of these guys will still be pretty successful outside of the WWE bubble. We'll just wait and see what happens with them. But speaking of releases, we did get apparently a new signing, and now this is an old sort of, we already knew this was happening, but apparently it's official now, Vet. Evil is coming to WWE, but not everything will be evil once he does arrive. If you get my drift, what I meant by that.
I do. I think you're saying that they want to do a name change and
That's
everything.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, look, this is Mike Johnson reporting, you know, so take it with a sandwich.
He has been spot on with WWE news, by the way. I'll give him that.
Semi-dirty. Let's say semi-dirty.
Semi-dirty, right. I'll say semi.
Well, I mean, obviously he's not staying with New Japan, so why else would he go there? Except whether his, wife, girlfriend, whatever she is, I don't even know.
He has changed his name, guys. He didn't really change his name. but his name is now Liv, Live. See, just switched it.
I was gonna say, like instead of
Kevin
evil,
Owens, he's gonna use Kevin Owens' tattoo.
Yeah.
He's gonna lease that off of him and merch it. But I mean, you know, whatever you call him, as long as it's not something stupid, then I think it'll be fine.
Dark?
But if he wants to just as long as he keeps his general like 2017, 18 sort of presentation, that would be fine.
What would you call him though?
Well, I would call him Evil.
Yeah, wow. I can see him. They're gonna name him
because look, it's right there with Danhausen in the future. You know?
Oh God, don't. Why did you say that? Come on, let's not go there with him. Not yet.
Let's go there.
Oh shit. I'm starting to like Evil nowadays too. I feel like he's improved tenfold since he's lost Inga Bernables.
Wait. But Jimmy, you can actually call him Evil, just use the Japanese term of evil. Whatever that is.
I can see that.
And he could trademark the Japanese name of Evil. And he could just call it that.
Or they're gonna call him Kendo Suzuki or something like that. You know what I mean?
The Japanese word for evil is aku. So very simple. They could do that if they wanted to, and that would be a good nod to his original name or whatever if they wanted to go that route. But I think part of what they like about it, it's as far as like his Japanese gimmick is they like the English words. It sounds cool to them, just like some Japanese words sound cool to us English speakers. It's like, but English words to us is like it sounds kind of stupid, right? So just to call a man evil, it's kind of like it's weird, for us. But calling him actually evil in Japan and spelling it out in English, evil in all caps or whatever, to them that looks different and cool. So maybe if you do give him the Japanese word and maybe that'll seem cool to us. I don't know. We'll see. But the important thing is the presentation. So how are they going to do that? I don't know, but we'll see.
I'm looking forward to
very Japanese and very evil.
I swear to God, if that happens, you guys suck, both of you. I don't want to see that happening. Not yet, anyway. But anyway, let's see some other news. Pretty slow again. But, well, you know what? Let's talk about, before we move on to sifting through the wreckage, of course, how do you guys feel about the recent call-ups, as a matter of fact, to the main roster? For example, obviously we had Sol Ruka make her debut on Raw this past week. And I know that you probably spoke about on the Next Level, but I didn't listen to nothing, so I don't know what you said. I've been sick all week, like I said. But how did you feel about it? What did you mention anyway? And obviously I saw what happened on NXT, how she hit her head, man. That was a bad spot.
Well, I'll keep it brief just because I just have a general statement about everything.
Okay.
And then if the professor wants to add any more specific detail, but basically what we were looking at in the final few months of NXT here leading up to WrestleMania was one of the most threadbare rosters of talent that they've ever had. And they're even calling up people out of threadbare. So now NXT is like a wasteland of nobodies. And the people that they all called up, it's like, okay, great. Like some of the worst, most unexciting wrestlers to ever live. Like JC Jane, Ethan Page, like you might as well just release them straight out of NXT. Just save some time, save several $1,000s, several $100,000. It's never going to happen. I've been saying it. I have a track record, but that's how I feel about the whole general situation. And I know Ricky Saints coming next week. Like they didn't all even go up at once.
Right. Right.
So, but
he's going to be on SmackDown, I believe, right? If I remember, with Ricky Saints. I think he's going to struggle there, man. I don't know why, but I hope I'm wrong. I know you're not the biggest fan also of Ethan Page, Vet, but I actually think that was a good move for him to debut. And before I give it to you, Prof, Joe Hendry is going to be a complete joke within about 3 weeks on the main roster. I'm going to call it right now. He's going to be an absolute nobody. They're going to expose him on the main roster, and he's going to be a laughing act with Danhausen, 100%. They're going to do contests together, and I could just see it. So there goes his main roster career. But, Prof, am I way off in saying that?
I'll look at it from this sense. I understand Vet's point 100%. I'll look at it from the business sense, quote unquote. With NXT being on the CW and NXT making what is it, 25 mil a year, we would not be analyzing the roster call-ups or whatever the case may be if it wasn't for them being on the CW network. When NXT was on the WWE network with the million subscribers, whatever the case may be, and the call-ups happen naturally or organically after WrestleMania, I don't think people really, because of that fallback, Jimmy, that it was on the WWE network, I don't want to say the pressure was on, but we already knew certain things. Vince McMahon didn't know what to do with them. He didn't have the vision, just like Triple H had the vision of the black and gold people that he wanted out of the Nakamura's, the Finn Balor's, yada, yada, yada. What is the incentive? Not even for Vet even to do his reviews of NXT next level shit, but even he says the cupboard is bare. I've been saying for the last years the women's roster has been carrying the NXT brand to a T. What's left? Again, what's left after? I mean, is Zarya going to carry the NXT brand, Vet? I mean, who is going to carry the NXT flag? And especially on the men's roster,
it's depleted.
I changed the channel. I don't watch the men's matches. I'm not interested. I like Lexus King. I like Brian Pillman Jr., but he doesn't do anything for me. I watch the women's matches. And as far as that goes, I like Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe is not going to be there for long. She'll be a call-up in a couple of weeks, maybe a month later, Jimmy. That's
no, she is a call-up now.
Yeah,
she got a vignette. She got a vignette.
Oh, she got a vignette.
Be there with Ricky Saints on SmackDown.
I stand corrected. Thank you, Vet. I'm just saying, but the cupboard is bare, but them being on CW makes it worse. If they were on, the internet, like the WWE network, we wouldn't really be analyzing this or talking about this. But this is bad for WWE business practices because the CW is like, wait, why are we paying even 25 million? We're overpaying for Evolve people. We're overpaying for LFG people that nobody knows and no one will care. And the ratings will go down. They'll get canceled and all that stuff. And probably the NXT show will become a YouTube show in a year's time. I'm calling it because the cupboard is so bare. And by the way, Jimmy, one more last thing. With all these releases, guess who's still employed? Nikita Lyons.
I said that on the watch along show with Brandon that I was doing. I said the same thing. The fact that she's still signed with the company is totally ridiculous, and I get it. But come on, man, that's an insult.
Let me touch on a couple of points there. The CW. One of the running gags that Ray and I have is that NXT is the top women's promotion on the planet.
Yeah,
it's them, then Stardom, then it's NXT is really, really a women's promotion that showcased. But they became that when they went to the CW, because what is the CW associated with other than 14-year-old girl shows? Like that's all the kind of programming they even have. So at that time, I feel that NXT tailored their roster to the audience that they expected to get. Because like I said, what do you think of when you think of the CW? You know what I mean? It's like, what Gilmore Girls, One Tree Hill, that kind of stuff? Like,
Tree Hill.
Who do you think is watching that? Now, I don't know how happy that the CW would have been with what they got, because I don't remember there being a multitude of stars when they first signed on there. And the women that were at the top then was Julia and Stephanie. And then they went right off because obviously they knew, man, there's nothing these girls can learn here. All they could do is get hurt by the inexperienced girls. So we need to get them to Raw and SmackDown immediately, and start making money with them. Well, as you could see, they don't know what to do with them, which is a shame, because that's the other difference that the professor touched on. Back in the day, NXT was operating independently with Triple H at the helm. So he had his vision. He had these people. They were pre-packaged. They had their character. They had their music. They had everything. They had a purpose, and they worked in NXT. And then they go up, and because Vince McMahon doesn't watch NXT and has no idea who any of these people are, he has to repackage them because they have to fit his vision. Well, this issue doesn't exist anymore. Triple H knows what he has in NXT because a lot of these people he hired, at some point, or had somebody hiring them. So he knows who they are. He knows who they're supposed to be. And he knows that any of them that are any good, he's going to want them now. So you can't use the good talent to be a draw for the program anymore, because anybody that's worth a damn is going to get plucked. Triple H could skate by and keep talent for years in NXT that were way better than developmental level. I mean, there's a point where they just hired a bunch of 40-year-old guys from TNA. You think Robert Roode needs development? You think, Eric Young needs development? Of course not. But he brought him in there to not only get on-the-job training for the younger guys, but to bring star power to the show, And he knew that Vince wouldn't care, so he could keep them for a while.
Right.
But now Triple H knows exactly what's going on in NXT. So if anybody's any good, he's going to say, give me that, and Sean just has to deal. But nonetheless, we're at a point where there's only so much talent because other people are signing to other companies, so even if they have designs on going to the WWE one day, they may have to fulfill a, an MLW contract or an AEW contract or, whatever. So right now it's like a lot of these people have settled, and WWE already has way too many people that they're not using, and they just released a bunch of them and they still have too many. So TV time's at a premium, especially when the bulk of your TV show is taken up with ads and ads about ads, and then now you're going to be waiting for your chance in the locker room. Like, I got my boots laced up. I hope we don't have to watch another 5-minute recap package of somebody else that's not going to be on the show tonight so I can have a match.
The best way to politic yourself now, Vet? I want to be in those ads. I don't need to be in the match. I will book myself in whatever ad you want. Whiskey, good. Pills, good. Cars, good. Slim Jims, okay, no problem. I'll do it. Book me on those commercials. No I'll be your mascot for those commercials, because at least that's TV time.
Right. I mean, people out there, like these marks are out here thinking LA Knight is sweating his push. Meanwhile, he's in all this Slim Jim and all this other stuff. Like, I think he's fine. I think he's very fine with where he's at,
People think he's going to get released too, guys, which is hilarious. I swear to God, man. I swear the IWC are hilarious since these releases, put it that way. Just want to point out, who the hell is Lizzie Rain, and how many we got? JC Jane, Lizzie Rain, Marcus Payne, Kane. Like, how many friggin' Ains do we have in NXT particularly? It's ridiculous.
It rolls off the tongue, Jimmy. Don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. Rain, Kane, Stain. It works.
I mean, seriously. I mean, Vet, who is she, man? She reminds me of that chick from Stranger Things. The older sister. I forgot her name. That's what I saw. Yeah, that's the one. I don't know why I had those vibes, but that's what I got when I saw it.
She has curly hair, but
it's probably
that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. We'll probably be talking about her next year around this time. same deal.
God damn it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I actually don't know this. Don't know this person. The old vet that used to scout talent and stuff has kind of been like dormant for a while. I haven't really, I can't give you my 5 years in the future on too many people these days, but maybe I should.
I'll just summarize it for what's her name, Lizzie Rain.
Lizzie Rain.
Okay, she is
a rock star.
Like the Iron Maiden drummer's niece. That's all we know. Clive Burr's niece.
Really?
Cool. But when I looked at her from the pictures, I was like, wait a minute. She looks like one of the girls from the Netflix series Glow. That's why I was like, wait. They went that way. If you look at the caricature, she looked like an 80s Glow wrestler. But again, let's see where, if this is her dream, let's see where it goes from her. But the only thing is she's the drummer's niece from Iron Maiden. That's all I know from that.
And that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Good on her, I guess. Good for her. Well, I just want to quickly ask that question because, it's kind of weird. Also, what's up with Ric Flair losing his absolute mind these days? He even called out Stevie Richards just quietly, but the old man needs to just stop. I'm not even going to ask for your opinions. It's typical Ric Flair bullshit, but I'm surprised he called out Stevie. That's kind of weird. And James, for that matter, without mentioning his name.
Jimmy, this is wrestling. You just talked about it. You fed it. You fell hook, line, and sinker because the controversy creates cash. Whatever Ric Flair says to retort Stevie, again, Stevie might have had some critique about Ric Flair. Now Ric Flair pushes back, and he has the vehicle of social media to push back on. I don't know the circumstantial evidence of the stuff, but again, wrestlers going after wrestlers, nothing new to me.
Vet, did you have anything to say before I move on?
One of the benefits of going back and listening to my own podcasts from time to time is I can just hear the things that I would say today, but I just heard them 5-6 years ago. Because I already said them. I said the same things then. When I was calling Ric Flair a sad, senile old guy in 2020, 2021.
Wow. Right.
I don't actually have to change, I don't have to say anything new. I don't have to change my story. I already said it, so it's, it's one of those things. I do want to say this. There's people that say, and Ric Flair would probably be one of these, that they love the business, right? Like there's certain people that say they love the business and all this other stuff, and that's why they do what they do. But if you really love the business, then you have to also respect the business. And when you're embarrassing to the business, you have to be self-aware enough to take yourself out of it, or just don't say that you love it. It's okay to say that. If you want to just say you're the nature boy and you want to talk about how many fake championships you won and you want to talk about how many divorces you had and whatever, whatever you want to talk about to brag about yourself, that's okay. Just don't say you love the business. That's all. Because you don't. If you really love something, you try hard to protect it and it means something to you and you don't want to embarrass it and you don't want to contribute to people's negative perception of it. Right? That's all.
Very well said. And last but not least, before we sift, did you guys watch the Hogan documentary on Netflix this past week? Any of you guys know?
Yeah, I did.
I know it seems obvious, like you know everything, and you pretty much do. When it comes to that, it is actually a great watch. I just want to point out really blew my mind. What?
I want to ask you guys. So, you guys have seen enough WWE or whatever produced stuff, their usual line of their usual veneer of bullshit all over everything, right?
Right.
How much of that was on this one compared to other stuff?
Actually, I learned one thing, that if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, Arsenio Hall would never get a job in late night television because he literally said, "I got him a job."
Wow.
One thing Hogan did a lot for the culture.
Arsenio never did anything for himself or
nope.
Not a popular stand-up comedian, not in the movies, never. Nope. It was just Hogan.
No, him and Hogan went to school together, then hooked him up later on as they got older, and the rest is history. No, but besides that, though, to be fair, Prof, to be fair, I felt like he wasn't bullshitting as much this time. To be fair, he actually wasn't. I'm going to give him that. Other than that, what Prof just said, that was weird. everything else, I felt it was pretty candid, even to the point of the coke binges him and Linda used to have. Which is weird. Like seeing all that video footage of her off her face, him off his face. The brother story was pretty sad, I will say that. And now I didn't shed a tear when Hogan originally passed away, but by the end of that damn show, I fucking started bawling. I'm not gonna lie, it hit me, man. I was like, damn, like that was my childhood right there. Like he was my idol growing up. And it really hits you by the end of it. I thought it was very, very well done. Even if you know everything about Hogan, like we all do, I still strongly suggest you do watch it. It is very, very well done. I will say that. And he didn't seem to have, the rumors about him dying from leukemia, he had some sort of cancer. That seemed to be bullshit. That wasn't the case. But he died 3 months before. 3 months after that documentary was aired, which is eerie. But apparently it was all because of a neck surgery that he didn't really need to get done. But they got it done anyway. And apparently that's what essentially killed him, which could have been avoided, unfortunately, man. And that's the sad part. I don't know why they could have gone without doing it and why they ended up doing it in the first place. But
I think Jimmy was about his quality of life because, again, if you notice the way Hogan was standing, sitting, he struggled just to do the normal basic things. And of course, we all know, all Haminites know that 40 years of doing the leg drop compressed the spine.
Right.
So he was paying for it in his 70s. So I think, after countless back surgeries, after countless knee surgeries, after countless hip surgeries, that also puts a toll on your whole body, Jimmy. So I don't know. I don't know if his doctor told him. I don't know if his third wife told him, like, you should try this. Maybe this is a new procedure that can help maybe ease certain, difficulties that you're having with the simplest things of, sitting and standing and, all that stuff. So he had to, I think he was just thinking more about, I just don't want to wake up in pain. I don't want to lie down in pain. I don't want to go to sleep in pain. So he made a choice, but it was complications. And Bubba the Love Sponge was talking about, even during those 3 months, he was like saying something's wrong with Hogan. So he was on death's door, and Bubba the Love Sponge was one of the first ones, and they were trying to say that he was
the first guy.
He was full of shit, and he was proven right.
Right, so, that's true.
But again, there's nothing that you are not going to be surprised about. I think the fourth episode, out of it, there was 4 limited series episodes. The fourth one is more of the salacious side of Hogan, the behind the scenes, the Gawker stuff. Maybe you just get a little bit more nuance about that. But the first 3 episodes, Jimmy, you could probably agree with this. All that.
Everything. Absolutely.
If you want to watch an episode, Vet, watch the fourth one. That's the kind of like the nuanced one.
That one, it was good though. I watched it in one sitting, obviously, but the fourth episode, it's sad, man. It really,
but it's still produced by WWE. I mean, so you got, or still was they try to give certain things to make it more positive on Hogan. I'm not saying that Hogan's a total dickhead on certain things, but again, they try to. Again, the Warriors.
That's what I was asking about. Like they're the running WWE bullshit. Like they put their own spin on history on these things.
There was a little bit of spinning for the first 3 episodes. Like I didn't really care about that. It was more the fourth I was more interested in because it was more about the behind the scenes stuff, the salacious side, the reality side.
Also, what surprised me, it seemed like him and Jesse the Body Ventura buried the hatchet in some ways. Because he wasn't really negative on Hogan and for being part of the actual documentary.
Again, Jimmy, who produced it?
Right.
Maybe there's unedited versions of Jesse being very candid, very serious. Because remember, not in one episode, Jimmy, that they even talked about. Why Ventura's pissed about it was about the union part.
Right, exactly.
They didn't talk about that case. They only talked about the steroid case, but there was the other case for Jesse, and again, how he had his issues with Hogan. So they didn't want to talk about that. They wanted to spin it to his career and shit like that.
Also, one other thing, I hate what Brooke Hogan's saying, going around saying what she's saying. I don't know what happened to her personally, right? But I just find it selfish that she wasn't mentioned enough, like she was saying on Bubba the Love Sponge's show after that was aired. That leaves a bad taste in my mouth a little bit because she comes across like a spoiled girl, shall I say. But like I said, I'm not going to judge because I don't know what exactly happened. But she was angry that she didn't get mentioned enough. And the fact that they didn't touch on her situation. Not that they would. I don't know why she was thinking that they would. And she was the one that was direct, like she didn't want to talk to him anymore. So why would they mention you in that sense? Like, doesn't make sense to me, but that's just me.
That's a different sifting, Jimmy.
Right. I know.
We're not sifting through that wreckage. We got our own wreckage to sift through.
Yeah, why are we mentioning her either? We shouldn't be. She should be upset that the wreckage ain't talking about her enough because we ain't.
It just left a bad taste in my mouth. That's all, man. And that's what I wanted to point out. So, yeah, in saying that, how about we put our gloves on and get ready to sift through some wreckage?
All right.
I'm going to pass the ball to you.
As you know, Jimmy, whether you saw it or not, we have a new AEW champion.
We do?
Yeah.
I'm pissed about that. I love Darby, but it was stupid the way that was all done, in my opinion. But anyway. I just wanted to point that out.
So, and again, I have to say this because it's so funny. I just listened to one episode of myself, and it's the same episode with all these releases. But in that episode, yes, I keep bringing it up, but the reason is it's relevant because in that episode, I was talking about how you use sympathy to get somebody over. And I was using an example of how it wasn't working for somebody. And I was using another example of how it could work for somebody. And it was because of something that happened with Darby Allin in a match or whatever, where he lost some match. And I was like, the way you get sympathy on a character like Darby Allin is you have him beat him in the matches where he's trying to win the big one and he can't do it. And that way, when he eventually finally does make it to the top of the mountain, literally and figuratively, the people will come unglued for it because they've been watching him come up short so long that they want to see him do it. And damn if that isn't what happened. Now, granted, there weren't that many people in attendance to do it. It wasn't his hometown, but I'm pretty sure the result would have been the same anywhere. Like if that had gone down like that and they saw a title change in whatever town. Because we've been watching Darby not win the big one. Then when he wins the big one, it's like, all right, we argued last week, we didn't argue amongst ourselves, but we argued against the booking, like in terms of like, we understand that it's a feel good moment and we can enjoy it a la carte, but in the long-term picture, it maybe hurt more people, and hurt more business perhaps. So
that's my problem with it. Not that I think champion.
But if you take that out of it, and we're all just kind of happy for Darby because we've seen how hard he's worked and how he sacrifices stuff. So if it's a big deal to him, then it's a big deal to me. But again, business. But that's what I mean.
Bad business.
The way they did it,
the macro and the micro of the business side of Darby winning the title. That's the thing.
So we get all that in this catch-up packet that we start the show with here when we see Darby and everything that happened, in case you didn't hear that. And then MJF storms the ring. He's like, this is bullshit. You cheated. Give me my title. Get out here, Darby Allin. Give me my title back. You cheated. And then he gets Kevin the Jet. The Jet. He gets the Jet. Yeah. I don't disrespect the Jet.
The Jet Williams now.
Yeah. The long story short is
I'm still gonna call him Kevin Willie. Let's talk about it.
Jet Willie.
Can
we compromise the Jet Willie? Because he's now the Jet. He is basically Dwayne Johnson here. He's the Jet says this, the Jet says that, the Jet says know your damn role. The Jet says I'll give you a title shot. The Jet basically gets the Jet into a match. MJF. So it's gonna be the Jet versus MJF next week because MJF's not doing it right now. So fuck off, kid. That's basically how it goes. And he leaves. Max leaves. And then we get well, first of all, before we move on, what do we think of this new speaking in the third person, the Jet?
It's new. It's actually very revolutionary. Apparently, I've never seen it before. Have you? Anyone?
It's not about being revolutionary, but it's about like we have been saying this on the Wreckage. Don Stevens has been telling this information. We all call him Kevin Willie. Let's talk about it. So we're all telling it. Don has been telling Kevin Willie, get some character into you. First, it was trying to be like Trick Williams, and now trying to be the Rock. But again, me and Vet kind of have differing opinions about this. Like last week when you had WrestleMania-itis, Jimmy, I'm saying that Kevin Willie, let's talk about it, needs to hone in on being more of a dick and a prick, because I think it will be more selling. But again, like Vet said, like last week, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because where he is right now, he's the TNT champion. Let him do what he has to do organically and stuff like that. I'm just saying that you want to talk about you don't want Uha Nation in the Hurt Syndicate. Guess who I want in the Hurt Syndicate? I want Kevin Willie. Let's talk about it in the Hurt Syndicate.
I'm cool with that.
I'm saying let him do that. Let him, go to the dark side. But again, I'm looking at it. Now you're seeing he's talking in third person. So the wheels are turning for Kevin Willie. Let's talk about it for that heel turn. And everybody's going to be like, why, Kevin Willie? Why are you going to, betray your best friend in the world, Speedball non-binary? That's happening. We know it's happening.
Well, yeah, they mentioned it too, but
or what if we turn Speedball into Lil Speedball, the hype man? What do you think about that? Lil Speedy.
Little Speedy. Oh no!
Think about that. Let's talk about it.
Oh, let's talk about it. Little Speedy, non-binary Little Speedy as well. I like it.
Yeah. So Renee is with Jericho and the Demand.
Yeah.
And Chris Jericho has a new shirt.
He does.
It says Jericho, the guy that gets his ass beat by the Demand every week he shows up. That's what it says on the shirt. It actually says that on the shirt. And Ricochet is there, and he's like, "You can't put that on a shirt." He said, "No, I did put that on a shirt." He's like, "But I said it." And he's like, "Yeah, but now I trademarked it, so you can't say it." Yeah. So he's gonna go find some partners to take on the Demand.
That's not that funny, Jimmy. That's part of the show.
Yeah. Well, we see later on the.
Let me just say this. Chris Jericho. Well, now it's Jericho. I don't think he wants to be called Chris. So I can't wait.
Jericho now.
It's just Jericho. Trademark. It's trademark. Jericho understands what it is. I keep saying it for weeks on end. No, whether you like him or not, Jericho has a 6-week plan with anybody he faces. So now we're in week what? We're going to be in like week 3 of this. So he has a long-term story with Ricochet. I knew it was coming after the pay-per-view. I knew it was not a one-off. So again, Jericho just understands the mission statement. And he wants to get Ricochet to another level. I don't know if he needs it, but again, Chris Jericho needs Ricochet a lot because Ricochet will make him look like $1 million, even at 55 years old, just like Vet said last week.
And they'll never boo Chris Jericho as long as Ricochet's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And you even see how he people have accused Chris Jericho of leeching himself onto people that he thinks he can get something out of, right? Or whatever. And you can even see that with the Ricochet thing of like
100%.
Ricochet already got the bald thing over. And now Chris Jericho's coming along acting like he's the one that actually did that. So now like he's doing that thing where he just says bald at the end of all his sentences. Like, bro, he already got this over without you. This is just sad what you're doing right now. I don't know, the majority of people see through that. I definitely do. We all do, but
we all have. Yeah, absolutely. We've been saying that for years now with Jericho, even long before that all started when he jumped to New Japan, even where he piggybacked off the Bucks and Omega and Cody during that time.
Yeah. So, well, here's Brody King versus Leo Rush for no reason whatsoever. Professor.
God, man. I can't, man.
Again, Malachi, you're needed. Leo needs you.
Then he should really become Malaka Black instead of Malachi, just quietly. I mean, seriously. I don't know what this Leo Rush thing is. I don't know what is some sort of dark side thing, whatever, but Well, yeah, true.
Dark Leo Rush.
This is a perfect
Just
example.
rush.
This
Sorry?
is a perfect example, Jimmy. I need TV time by any means necessary.
So,
Give me TV time.
so what was going through his mind then? Coming up with like, what would you call this if you're trying to make this gimmick? Like, what would you?
No. The gimmick is okay.
I
It's
don't know, man.
it's not taking advantage of the gimmick. He does not need to fight Brody King. He does not need to lose to anybody on the AEW roster. This gimmick is perfect for standby matches, local talent, and he could be. Do you understand, Jimmy, that if we were going in the 80s wrestling challenge superstars, you do 6 weeks of standby matches with Leo Rush's character facing every jabroni, local jabroni. That stock would rise and rise and rise. And you know who his first opponent? And you know the first legitimate feud I would put him in after 6 weeks of that shit? Jack Perry. No, Jack Perry, because I would go after the national championship. He's a smaller dude, and he can scare Jack Perry to death with all of his Leo. He could scare him from the rafters. He could scare him from his what was it, that voodoo tour bus or whatever he was driving into all these pay-per-views. But you do little nuanced shit. It's there. It's fucking there. And they don't want to take it. Nah, just let him lose. That's why I'm just saying, Malachi, bring him back. Because he at least has a ready gimmick.
Going by how long that match went, it was a strong win for Mr. King, it seems.
Is it really strong?
Is
it really this strong? Is it really this strong for Brody King?
This is why it's
like this strong.
This is why it's strong. Because you drag Leo Rush up out of Collision to come on to Dynamite and lose this match. And what happens after Brody King wins? He says, hey, I respect you, Darby Allin. I don't respect you enough that I don't want my shot at you. But I definitely will beat you because I just also beat a small guy. So now I can become the AEW champion is basically what that was. So yes, it was in fact a strong win.
I did not know that Leo Rush was a top contender for the AEW title. That Brody,
you don't have to be. All you have to be is a wrestler with a pulse. And if they drag you up out of somewhere for a contender to beat you right before he's about to lose to somebody, because you know Brody King going to lose to Darby Allin. So that's what the strong win is all about. It's that we're acting like we didn't just watch you do nothing for however many months. But Brody King doesn't even necessarily fit the usual profile because he was in a feud trying to win the AEW championship from X. You know, so
yeah, Grand Slam Australia.
Whatever. So look. All I know is this part's over and we can go on to the next.
Just please. He's done a lot of biting in this match, put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. So Renee gets a word with Tommaso Ciampa. He takes a long way to say that he's prepared for this moment. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Cope has an idea, guys.
He does?
Yep.
Oh.
If we have a New York street fight with the Cash and Axe Axon, okay?
Right.
The previously released 6 years ago. And if we lose, CNC Wrestling Factory will retire as a team. He's putting that stipulation on.
Hopefully they lose.
We'll find out. So Hikaru Shida with Chris Statlander in her corner takes on Mina Shirakawa. They have a match. Mina goes to Shida goes to get her stick. Okay? Her kendo stick. So then Mina intercepts the stick. Like, no, you ain't using that. And then Statlander intercepts the intercepted stick before she can use it. And then Shida hits a Falcon Arrow and wins.
Strong win.
I mean, maybe a little strong.
A little strong.
Really. Statlander's being possessed by Sheeta's chicanery. That's what it is.
See what you did.
See, no, but look at it. Like Statlander, ever since losing that title, where's the focus? Where's the direction? She does,
She's lost now. She's
lost.
Right.
So Shida coming in, which we kind of made fun. Well, I made fun of this. Like, hopefully Shida doesn't get relegated to ROH. Now has a purpose. Now she could infect Statlander to become Jimmy. You have to say it, Dark Statlander. It's there.
Dark Statlander.
It's coming.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like, to me, Statlander has the look on her face of like, don't look at me. She wrote me into this. Like, I got nothing better going on right now, so I guess I'm your partner, but I don't really care that much.
And since when
She's always
was
giving her
AEW
the side eye, like,
yeah, something's off. She doesn't look. Is it just me, or does it look like she had a bit of boo-boo face, Statlander, in this match particularly?
yeah, I mean, probably, but I think she's supposed to.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever's going on now, I didn't know they were best friends suddenly.
And quick engineering timeout, but like, do you guys hear an echo somewhere? Like, I've been hearing an echo all episode. I don't know who, but
I heard a little bit of it. I don't know.
Echo?
I hear an echo when I'm talking. I hear an echo when Professor talks sometimes.
What about now?
Well, check 1 2, check 1 2. I don't know what you guys hear at home. Please feel free to chime in with any
I
audio.
don't hear it now, but we're good now. I heard it like minutes ago. I think it was fixed.
Yeah, it was probably Jimmy's fault.
Yeah,
I didn't hear no
Forgot how to
echo
do it.
on
We
mine.
forgot how to do the engineering.
Remember, Jimmy, you're 85%. You're not 100%. So you're not
I'm
hearing
not.
the other.
I'm not.
Yeah, you're not
I'm
hearing the
not.
15%.
It's not like you're not hearing a TV by any chance, are you guys?
No, it's just
All
I
right.
hear one of our when either I or the professor would start to speak, I would hear the
Okay, that's
the
odd.
voice start, and then it would kind of
Tell me
cut
if you
off.
hear it again out of curiosity when you do, if you do.
Okay. So Okada and Takeshita get a package, catching up everybody on whatever they've been doing. Then Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. And guys,
Just talking about super duper strong.
Mark Davis has a pair of trunks on. And do you know what it says on the ass of the trunks?
Wasn't it
I don't like
Dunkzilla?
to look at a man's ass, so I didn't pay.
I didn't
attention
see it
to that.
either, but is it Dunkzilla?
Dangerous.
Oh. So he's big fat ass is dangerous.
Do not wear that trunk, Mark Davis, in Atlanta or San Francisco, because some men will call you on that.
Especially San Francisco.
Yep. Some men will call you on that one. Is it really? Is it really dangerous, Mark? I want to know. I want to know.
Do that again, Pop. That was
You
too
guys
funny.
went a different direction with that, but I was really just pointing out the fact of how we've been talking about people in AEW having a most dangerous man competition. And this guy went and printed it on his trunks.
Again, vet, Don listens. Don is a reflection, and Don relays the messages. He wants the mantle. He wants that chip. The AEW most dangerous wrestler chip.
It's a race. It's a real good, big race, competitive race at that too. It's very close.
So, speaking of those trunks, like after he took a big bump, like the camera caught him like pulling up his trunks over his fat stomach while he was supposed to be selling. So I will say I caught you doing that, but more importantly, he does that apron pile driver that he likes to do.
He did.
So that they can do the doctor angle with Will Ospreay, where the doctor comes out to check on him. And then the doctor goes out there, and unlike last week, Professor, where Will Ospreay valiantly fought through his doctor stoppage, while the announcers were saying either the match is over or it isn't. Which is it? Like the announcers are burying it, and he ends up coming through with the win. But this time, the doctor stops the match. Like, no, he's too fucked up. He can't keep going. And I'm just like, yeah, it's called a count out. Like the referee would normally, if you're outside the ring, would just count to 10. That's normally how we do these things. So I don't get the doctor stoppage thing here, but nobody cares about how pro wrestling is supposed to be. And then
I'm sorry. Let me just ask you this question, because we've been talking about this with Billy Goat here, but are they overprotecting or overthinking how to protect Willie with this neck?
Yes.
Because again, the neck is a story. We understand that the neck is a story. And you want to talk about most dangerous wrestler, Jimmy? Will Ospreay agreeing to do this spot after coming back from neck fusion surgery? something's wrong in the screw loose of Willie. So you're supposed to adapt to a different style of wrestling to protect yourself.
Not here,
Now, I don't
dude.
want to go into the logistics vet about this.
But well, let me just say at least, okay, like again, you're putting me in the position of having to defend any of this shit.
Oh,
but
God.
like,
I love when you defend it when you know it's
his style of wrestling in this instance was getting pile driven by a giant man. So like, I guess that wasn't up to him. That part. He got pile driven. So he did cripple him on purpose. It was like, he didn't flip his way into a neck injury. They did an angle. I get it. And it's like, I understand what you're saying. Like, I like the idea of it, of if we're telling the story over a period of matches where Will Ospreay's coming back, but maybe he came back too soon. Maybe that Dragon Ball Z tank that he came out of, on the video was not, maybe he didn't get up to 100%, capacity. Maybe he's only at 80, maybe not even 85 like Jimmy, maybe he's even lower. So if you're telling that story and then Jon Moxley beats him and then he barely wins his next match, and then, I would have had him lose to Hechicero. Like, you remember I said that actually, now that we talk about it, Professor, remember last week I said, just have Hechicero beat him. Like, shock everybody, say, oh shit, Will Ospreay really is fucked. And then this, if he's like trying to do it, and then now Mark Davis actually gets the match stopped off a pile driver, then it's like everybody's just taking a turn trying to end Will Ospreay's career. And now we really have to, second guess what we're doing. And then it goes into the silly little angle that they want to do here, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, regardless of whether you think it's a good angle or a good storytelling or whatever this is about to be, that goes into actually Collision even, but regardless of your opinion on that, it's definitely a way to go. And if you're, and I'm not opposed to the overall story of, he's not ready. Oh shit, he's in trouble now. And then what are we going to do? That's not a bad story to tell. The way they're telling it is not the best. And there's always things that you can do to make it better. But I appreciate the attempt is what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate the attempt. I appreciate the attempt too, Jimmy Yvette, but I'm just saying, like, you're going to explain to the Hami Knights later on where this is going. Mm-hmm. All I'm going to say, realistically, there's somebody not involved in this story. That's all I'll say. We can move on.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So the funniest part, like, for example, to me, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, one of my favorite things on both these shows is Justin Roberts' somber announcement, like, because again, the match was just stopped, right? And Justin Roberts gets on the mic to sadly say, "Here's your winner, Dunkzilla, Mark Davis." Like, you can't be somber and say the word Dunkzilla. Come on.
Did you just say Dunkzilla?
Dunkzilla.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
But he said it very sadly.
Right.
Yeah. It's just hilarious.
He's a freaking, I swear, Justin Roberts is such a clown in a way, but anyway.
Bless his heart. So the Death Riders swarm the ring. Now the defeated, crippled Will Ospreay. And they carry him off. The Death Riders carry off the defeated, crumpled, limp body of Will Ospreay to never be seen again for a couple of days.
I'm with you saying Texas. Death Rider stories like no logic.
Guess who didn't run to try to save Willie, or at least attempt to save Willie?
Windsor?
Oh.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Renee Moxley Good. Jon Moxley's wife with Will Ospreay's wife. And they're just talking about, dang, Jamie Hayter's not cleared after that banger of a match she had with Tekla.
Jesus
See,
Christ.
This is the thing. This is the problem, Hami Knights.
Bad.
We got to talk about the Brawling Birds, but your hubby got kidnapped by the Death Riders.
Who gives a shit? She doesn't give a shit about that. Come on.
See, when you were sick, I did talk to Vet about this. I said there was a point that you at least have for Double or Nothing. It's simplistic, Jimmy. We'll go into the segment, but I'm just saying, so simplistic. You could have had a mixed tag match at Double or Nothing. Moxley and Marina against Windsor and Willie Boy. It was simple. basic, at least he could get his revenge. But again, they overthink about his neck. They're overthinking about the dangerous ass of Dunkzilla, and they're overthinking that Wins is not a part of this anymore. That's the problem I have with Tony.
I know, but 2 weeks ago she
Underthinking
was. Yeah, oh yeah, I guess in this case.
No, yeah. All Windsor cares about is finding a tag team partner to take on two of the Death Triangle or whatever, the Triangle of Madness, right?
Yeah,
so
that's it.
So basically, Persephone just wanders in out of nowhere and says, I'll do it. And then they're like, okay, pick two. Pick two of you triangles and we'll fight you. Meanwhile, her husband's getting carried off. So obviously, to quickly rewrite this scene, okay, let me just tell you, Mr. Khan, this is what you should have had on your little, loose leaf notebook or whatever. This is what you should have had. Renee is backstage. She goes to try to get a word with Alex Windsor. It's like, Alex Windsor, Will Ospreay has just, had his match stopped. And she's like, fuck you, you fucking bitch. This is all your fucking fault. You ruined my fucking life, and runs after him.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Simple, who gives a shit about your tag team match, playa?
It's Wrestling 101 too, which is even sadder. The fact that they can't even think of something simple like that, which it really is just bizarre to me.
Or she didn't have to say anything. She could have just slapped Renee.
Yep.
Right.
And you know why. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least, at the very least, she should have been worried, even crying, God damn it, something. But
you want to know, you guys want to know the funniest part, though?
There's
I wrote these notes. I wrote these notes down, like first Will Ospreay gets kidnapped, then Alex Windsor's with Renee and all this stuff. And in my mind at the time, I didn't even correlate that. It wasn't until I was just sitting here thinking about like, hey, wait a minute.
That's
so funny. That's how checked out I am, when I watch these shows sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard. AEW is one of those shows when it's really weird and shit else. You don't retain any information. It just exits.
Yeah, you know why, Jimmy? Time. You know why? You do this too much to everybody.
I know. I've become... Anyway, I was going to say a certain word. I'll read and I'll say it. But yeah.
One moment you're sitting there watching Dynamite, eating a nice slice of pie, and then the next thing you know, you forgot everything.
Oh, boy.
Samoa Joe is back.
Yeah. He looks
He
great.
takes on Cody Chun. And
I thought you said Dante Chen.
No, that'll be next week.
Oh, okay.
That'll be next week. I guarantee you Dante Chen doesn't have a no compete. So
gotcha.
So Cody Chun and Hook approves of this quick win for Samoa Joe. So that's good. I'm glad Samoa Joe's got Hook's approval.
And I'm gonna say he kind of looks the best shape I've seen him in a long time, actually. I thought he looked refreshed for once and looked somewhat of the old Samoa Joe, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll say this before Vet goes to the next segment. I have a problem with this because, again, the whole thing about the ops was Hook trying to recruit. And we got no results out of that. The only thing we got for TV certain weeks, Jimmy, was Anthony Bowens. And Vet will explain that on the collision part.
The pride of AEW?
Yeah, the pride of wrestling, whatever you want to call it. The pride.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right.
Mr. Dangerous on a different end. But anyway, neither here nor there. But Vet, maybe again, I'm overthinking. I'm sorry. I just have to say this so this way Don understands. Maybe Joe didn't need a standby match. Maybe you could have had a vignette out in the back saying, what's the results? Where's my recruits? Make Hook feel a little bit of fearful, or maybe have a difference of opinion, maybe clashes. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but sometimes you just don't need that standby match where you have a nice simplistic promenade where you say, where's my results? Where's my peoples? You got to replace Hobbs. We haven't replaced Hobbs. Still just got two. Maybe now we'll get three later, spoiler alert, but I'm just saying.
Let's find out what happens later. But first,
I'll do that. Professor has a problem. Yes.
Yes, the problem. And we can only limit that to one problem per week. I don't know if that's going to work. You're going to have to pick a problem.
It's true.
It's going to be Marina Shafir every time.
Jimmy, you're responsible for creating a banner. Professor has a problem and some music. I just need that.
All right. I'll do that. I'm serious. I will
short
do that.
Jingle, Jimmy, not like a whole theme. Okay.
I'll make sure at least 5 minutes long. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Extended mix.
Extended mix. That's it.
So we get an extended mix of how audacious Darby Allin is in a package. Like, I don't know why they chose to say it that way, but they just talk about the audacious Darby Allin, and then they play, I've Got to Be Me under this, so they're juxtaposing this lounge classic on this vision of all the stuff Darby Allin's has done to be ridiculous over the past 6 years. So weird, but okay, whatever. Renee asked Jericho, all right, who's it going to be? And it turns out that he was having a meeting in his suite with the Hurt Syndicate. So
he's going to start hurting people now.
Yeah, the little bit of that. It's a little bit of nod to, some people may remember there was some heat between MVP and Jericho. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's a nice little touch there. He's just saying it's just business. So Shivani intros Darby, and he comes out to the ring to cut a speech. His speech is cut off by MJF again. And he tells MJF, and I'm severely truncating this, but he tells MJF, you're not getting a shot. You're not getting a rematch. There's plenty of people that should be in line ahead of you. So I'm going to do an open challenge. Never seen that gimmick in wrestling either.
Wow. Something new.
Yeah.
Well, it's new for the world title, which I definitely.
Well, I guess that's true.
Wait a minute, Josh. Professor has a problem. Turning the AEW World Championship into the TNT Open Challenge Championship. That's the problem I have. See, I didn't need 5 minutes. I just said Professor has a problem.
Right.
It's true.
Which that ain't even a thing either, because the Jet didn't have a match tonight, an open challenge match tonight. So anyway, we already know that it's going to be Ciampa. So that is your main event. Now, funny enough, this match, before I even got a chance to watch it, this match reached my purview from outside sources. I was on social media. I saw people put this over. I had a friend text me directly saying a banger from these guys.
Oh no, you never say that to you.
He did say a banger. I saw Bill Apter put the shit over.
Wow.
Like I saw people talking about this match. So I was like, this is more than I usually see. So I said, okay, well, I'll watch it. And oh my God, it's every Tommaso Ciampa match that's ever existed, ever in history, ever. He's been having this match for over 10 years, just that I've been watching, let alone if people remember his ass from Ring of Honor and him doing matches and stuff. Like, he doesn't do anything else. You know what else he doesn't do? He doesn't catch Darby Allin when Darby goes to do the coffin drop. Okay? Darby goes to do a coffin drop from the top rope to the outside of the ring where Ciampa's standing. Like, he chased.
That was crazy, man.
He chased, like, he was trying to get Ciampa, and he chased him over and did a coffin drop to the outside. And Tommaso did like this half-ass attempt at a catch where he kind of stuck his arms out, and as soon as Darby started falling, he like alligator armed him and just let him splat on the fucking floor. Now, that wasn't the spot. Like, it wasn't the Samoa Joe nope where he just walks away. He was supposed to catch him, and he said, I got a family, and just fucking said, fuck you. Like, what a cocksucker. You guys wonder why I don't like this guy. And I was listening to my podcast from earlier, and I was burying Ciampa on that thing too. Like, I've been doing the same. I've been keeping my story straight for years. I've been telling you guys.
Jimmy, we got a segment here. Vet has a problem with Ciampa.
No, my segment is Vet's old podcast says.
Yeah, I was going to say that, right? It'd be that 100%, but it's true.
So as you know, we know Darby's, we know he's crazy, but like, I know it's different when you're expecting a catch and you don't get it. That sucks. And the rest of the match is just the same old shit. It's kickouts. Like, would anybody be talking about this match if he didn't kick out of that knee? He just did the knee. He did his lame knee a couple of times, and Darby kept kicking out of it. Does that make it a banger?
Wait a second. You know, after this match, Ciampa went on to say that Darby is his pro wrestling soulmate. Just quietly. Does that make him dangerous, Prof? By the way.
Yeah, put that shit on Mark Davis's trunks.
Yeah.
Soulmate. Out of here, man.
Dangerous soulmates.
This guy fucking, he played the 2018 PS4 God of War, and he thinks he's fucking Kratos now with his stupid beard or whatever. He thinks he's cool, right? He comes out there, he does all this shit, and it's okay because like he beats the shit out of somebody and won't, but it's like, it's okay because you get to kick out of my finisher, man. Like, that's not a good match. It's not work. We saw Darby have a great match with Andrade just the other week. That's a real match. That's a good match. This was just the same shit that he's always been doing. He brought Darby down.
I agree 100%. And like your old co-host, as a matter of fact, Vet,
the co-host of that old podcast I kept.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Mr. Serge Zilla saying, I don't know what people see in Ciampa. I kind of agree with him, man. Yeah. I've never been the biggest fan of his,
and I wish reason. And Hammer, I wish he was a Harley Race boy, but just because he was trained by Harley Race or whatever doesn't mean he works like him. Harley Race was sell.
Right? Yeah.
Before we go on to Collision, Jimmy and Vet, I'll just say this because remember, Vet, last week because of the discourse about Darby being the champion, and then is he championship material or heavyweight champion material? I remember one of the discourses. I don't know if you all saw this on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, but they compared Darby being the champion to like Spike Dudley. So when I see this match, you're proving that discourse that Spike Dudley is defending the championship against Ciampa just to do some of these, do these spots where he looked, the car crash spots. Again, I ain't saying they're right or wrong. I said that Darby should have been the champion, but again, his time to be the champion was 2025, and this was just filler time. I don't want to go into that again, Jimmy, but I'm just saying I remember the discourse of comparing him to Spike Dudley, and this match almost proves that discourse to a degree.
It's true. I don't understand the hoopla, Vet.
Can everybody on the internet just shut the fuck up, please?
No, they can't. They can't.
I just want them to, though. Is it okay to want them to? Look, first of all, Spike Dudley was never a world heavyweight champion. So what even is the comparison? And Tommaso Ciampa is barely bigger than Darby Allin. Spike was the giant killer. That was his whole gimmick. That was the story. The runt of the deadly boy. There's no comparison. Zero. And the other thing is, Spike Dudley couldn't work. He could get thrown around, right? That's what he could do. Darby Allin could do anything in that ring. He doesn't have to do all this bullshit. He could go in there and work a headlock for 10 minutes and be more exciting than Tommaso Ciampa's ever been in his life. With all the kickouts and all the pulling up the mats on the outside and pulling up the fucking ring mat to expose the wood boards underneath and all the stupid shit that he's done that he thinks gets over, But he's barely bigger than Darby Allin. He doesn't know how to work. He has no psychology. I don't give a shit if he played God of War or if he trained with Harley Race. And Spike Dudley is not Darby Allin. There's no comparison.
I get why people say that, though. I get it because
me too. Because they're dumbasses who don't understand things. People always are dumbasses who don't understand things and just throw shit out there to get. I don't know. Maybe they do it on purpose to start a fight, but the point is, it's not. So
hey, at least Vet, someone threw out there dangerous, and Dunkzilla took advantage of it and put it on his trunks and his ass. So it works. Sometimes you just got to do it.
Well, you know what else I saw? Somebody asked me because they saw this discourse. So another individual that talked about this match was asking me, do you think that Ciampa was trying to do an homage to Austin and Brett at WrestleMania 13 with this bloody sharpshooter thing? And I was
Come
like,
on.
why? Who said that? And then they said that's what some people were talking about on the internet. I'm like, fucking internet again. Who asked the internet? You know, like, first of all, so Ciampa gets color in this match in case you didn't see it, and Darby works the Scorpion, and Ciampa tries to fight it, and then he pulls him back to the ring, and then Ciampa taps out. How is that in any way related to the finish of WrestleMania 13? Austin didn't tap out. That's number one.
Right, he didn't.
So how do you compare the finish of a match to something that was a different finish? What? Because a guy's in a sharpshooter bleeding? That's happened a ton of times.
That's
Have you ever watched a Bret Hart match? He put a lot of bleeding people in the sharpshooter, right?
It was over.
Yeah.
That's it.
And also, Tommaso Ciampa's supposed to be a heel, right? Didn't he turn on Mark Briscoe and all this other shit? Right? Remember?
Apparently.
He only cares about titles. He only cares about that. He doesn't care about other people. He only cares about Goldie or Sylvie or whichever color his belt that he's going for is,
I
right?
just want consistency, Vet, and they don't do it.
We just
They
want
don't do
so
it.
yeah, because Professor, what happens after he loses this match?
They hug, they shake hands.
Oh, the heel shake hands. Oh, great. Okay, great. So like I said, no psychology. Don't understand your own character, whatever it is, whatever the psycho killer is supposed to be. I guess he really is a psycho in the sense that he doesn't make any sense because
Vet.
he just goes back and forth.
Vet, one more discourse. Again, this is the internet talking here, Vet. This match was way better than Roman and CM Punk. That's all I will say.
It was. It was.
The
Allegedly.
internet
It was
says
a better match on Wednesday. That's for sure. Punk and Roman's match on Wednesday was not as good as this because it didn't exist. You don't have to hit all the buttons just because you're back. Okay. So anyway, Brody King comes out at the end and says, yeah, congratulations. Anyway, next week. Okay, so there you go, Brody King. All you got to do is step up. It's open challenge.
My head.
There should have been a line of guys like the 24/7 title to go out there since everybody gets it. Just because first come, first serve. All right.
That sounds bad, Vet.
Collision.
Dangerous.
What? Maybe Dunkzilla wants a line or 5-tool player. The Pride, whatever.
That should be the main event of Double or Nothing. Dunkzilla versus Darby.
Oh man.
All right.
My head hurts for real.
Well, it's time for playoff palooza, guys.
You're gonna get Jimmy sick, Vet.
You think the professor has a problem? Conglomeration has a problem.
I can't.
They need to find somebody to defend their trios title against. And FTR walks by and says, "You guys are going to lose." And they just keep going.
You kind of skipped over the segment because who opened the show was the greatest tag team in the last decade, FTR. They answered the challenge of Cope, but they added another stipulation.
No, I didn't skip that.
Oh, I'm just saying.
They walked by the conglomeration on their way to the ring, just said, "You guys are going to fucking lose." Then they went out to the ring, and then they did the promo.
I know you don't like. I know you have a problem with FTR. Sometimes I just don't want you to be a WWE producer. You glossing over the greatest tag team of the last 6 years. I just want to make sure.
I'm setting up that tee for you. I'm screwing it into the base. I'm putting the ball gently on it. I want you to be able to tee off on this, so don't worry. I'm just setting you up. So they diss the conglomeration as a side thing. Go to the ring. They cut the promo. They say, "Nobody wants you here." It's the same thing. It's like, this is like the hang person to CM Punk promo. Like, nobody wants you here. And then they're like, "Why don't we make this it's already a street fight, but let's just add I quit to it." We're gonna do I quit. And then so before I go on to the next thing, which I will have all the stuff in order, do not worry. But I want to now the professor can tee off on this, say what he wants to say about FTR's scintillating promo and Stokely. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
So scintillating. The crowd was on their feet, Jimmy. I know you was sick, so you're back to 85%.
On their feet going to concessions.
No, they weren't. They were. They already bought it. So
okay.
It was buy one, get one free. But anyway,
Bathroom
But I'll
break
just
at the
say
start
this,
of the show.
it was captivating stuff. But again, they're the ones that are being given chicken shit and trying to make it the chicken salad because again, the logic that makes no sense. You got a street fight, anything goes, Jimmy. They're gonna fight everywhere in the ring, but then you got to add the I quit. I quit's already no disqualification, so pick your poison. Do you want a street fight or do you want an I quit match? Oh no, let's hybrid it together. It's the street fight quit match.
The quick, what the fuck? What?
The street fight quit match. It's new. It's innovative, Jimmy. You know, this is what Vet was talking about with WWE. ChatGPT cannot book your shit. You don't merge two different matches together because you're doing the same shit. Go to fucking Grok, Tony. ChatGPT. Oh, I'm sorry. I know, Jimmy, you said Copilot.
Yeah,
Try something else. It's not working.
Copilot, Claude, Rufus.
Yeah.
Ask Amazon how to book it. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
But you're merging shit together. It's like, why? Why?
Well,
Cope
I'll tell
already
you why.
did it. Go ahead. Defend
I'll
it.
tell you why.
Defend it.
What did I just say about the comparisons, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about WrestleMania 13, Austin Brett? What kind of match was that?
I quit match.
Wow. Who loves Bret Hart? Who loves the fuck out of some Bret Hart?
Well, two of them love Bret Hart, by the way.
Cashton and Dax the Axe.
To the point that they will tackle somebody who tries to tackle Bret Hart.
Yeah, actually, they did.
Yes. And, you know, what about WrestleMania 11, Professor? What kind of a match did Bret Hart have at WrestleMania 11?
Technically, it was a submission match. They booked it that way, was the thing. But it's still an I quit match.
I mean, they were sticking the mic in Bob Backlund's face, though, so that's kind of an I quit match.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, this is how we can get to this. Yeah, and you got two Canadians. Of course, they love Bret Hart. So it's like, this makes perfect sense, right? I don't know.
Is this Bret Hart on a pole match? Is that what you're saying?
I think his.
I actually would accept that match, Jimmy, more than combining two matches of Bret Hart on the pole match.
We're just adding stipulations. We'll see how many we can fit.
Yeah,
let's add another rule. Who can take out Bill Goldberg for Bret Hart for the affection of Bill?
Oh, nice.
So, anyways, they do their promo. They add the I quit stipulation. Top guy's out. They're walking out. The conglomeration's coming out now for their match, right? And now here's the consistency Professor always wants. I just don't think it goes the way he would prefer. But so as the collaboration is coming out and they walk by FTR, Kyle O'Reilly just shoves Axon down, and that's it. No, nothing. He just shoves him down like a punk bitch, and then they just go to the ring. Like, yeah, suck that. It was great. And then Jimmy, and then we have the conglomeration versus the Don Callis family team of Andrade, Hechicero, and Lance Archer. Sorry, Lance. Sorry. I'm very sorry. You're gonna have to eat the pin in this one. It was okay.
No, they listened to you, Vet. No, they listened to you that Lance Archer took the pin because why should Hechicero, the CMLL champion, take the pin?
You're right.
They listened to you.
Why should Andrade, the great Andrade, take the pin?
He's got a future story in the making because he wants his open challenge against Darby coming up soon. Never know.
Yep. And if you go back to that podcast I was listening to earlier today, Sergio and I were talking about how Lance Archer was in this tournament for the vacant TNT title. And we were talking about how Lance Archer was a monster and how Lance Archer was going over and how it would be a huge mountain to climb for Cody to beat Lance Archer if he was to make it to the end of the tournament against Lance Archer.
Well, how that work?
Times have changed,
right? That's sad.
So luckily for us, because there's no way we could have known or seen this, but luckily for us, the Death Riders went ahead and made a short film about what happened after they carried Will Ospreay off. So we were just gonna have our hands up like, well, I guess we'll never see him again or whatever. We don't know, but now we know. Thank you. Submit this to the Academy for consideration for the Oscars in 2027, guys. Your short film. It's called My Meeting with Will, starring Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay and the rest, Wheeler Yuta, all those guys, Marina Shafir, the whole cast,
Wow.
star-studded affair. Sit down in a warehouse somewhere, undisclosed location. Jon Moxley gives a speech to Will Ospreay, the usual kind of cryptic speech that he gives. And he even says...
One thing that,
yes.
don't forget, well, this was in my notes, the great massage therapist Marina Shafir was for Willie Boy's neck. She cured it. She cured all his neck problems.
She did the shiatsu massage from Mr. Miyagi. Got it ready. Ow. How'd you do that? Yeah, that's basically what happened. She fixed his neck real easy. Yeah, so basically Jon Moxley says, he gives him a choice. He gives Will Ospreay a choice. Like, you can do what you're going to do and kill me, or you can be stronger than you've ever been before and be something different. So he offers himself up for Pillmanization. Jon Moxley gives Will Ospreay the chair and lays down on the ground like.
So he did a Tommy Dreamer.
Yep, almost.
About. Please, I want more. Like, give me more.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer saw it and was like, "Damn, why didn't I think of lying down? I love lying down." So, he did that. They did all that, and then Will Ospreay shoves the camera away, and that's the end. We don't know what happened. Maybe he killed Jon Moxley. We'll never know.
Maybe.
Till Wednesday.
Or he got killed, maybe. Or did the United Nations of Europe, whatever the hell they called,
the Wuhan Nation of Europe?
Yeah, whatever they're called. They came from Japan, even though they're all Europeans, and saved him, maybe? Is that a possibility?
Maybe.
Or we're going to pretend they never turned up a couple of weeks ago.
No, we'll never know. We'll never know. Professor, what do you think? Do you think this has a shot at the Oscar?
Professor has a problem, Josh.
Bing.
I mean, again, at least I would have accepted maybe Daniel or Wheeler holding a camera to at least make it the nuance of we're in an undisclosed.
Look at what you saw. Like it's like some sort of horror flick suddenly.
I'm just going with the nuance. Wheeler or Daniel should have hold the camera just so this way we could see certain things. I don't mind the shiatsu Miss Miyagi segment part. I'm trying to say where are we going with this. No,
there you go.
No, this is it. This is
where we go. Where are we going with this? The bell rings.
Where are we going with this? And again, if we're gonna cheer Jon Moxley over the years, Tommy Knights, attempted murder, throwing people off the roof. Oh, I'm sorry, off the stairs. Now we got kidnapping. Now we got attempted suicide from the other side. Again, I don't know
from the other side.
Yeah, because Jon Moxley is willing to give himself up for Willie Boy.
Oh, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous.
The problem I have, and again, for the nuance for myself, is very simplistic. I know that Will Ospreay, and me and Vet said this last week, Will Ospreay should be winning the title in England. And right. I'm always going to keep saying this habitually, Jimmy. You know me. The journey, the destination. The journey for Will Ospreay to get to that feel-good moment in England, I don't know how many turns and twists, but he got lost. That GPS ain't working. GPS is not working for him to get to that point. And again, there's Easter eggs from weeks prior because we had Willie Boy and Kenny Omega. Is that a finals Owen Hart match? We don't know for that. They don't say it because now I'm focused on something like this because Jon Moxley has put a stranglehold on this segment because I'm like, where does Jon Moxley want to take things? Jon Moxley reminds me of Vince Russo in 1999 in WCW. Running shit because he has no filter. Jon Moxley has no filter because Tony Khan is like, all right, you're the man. And Tony Khan owes Jon Moxley because he has helped him so many times in so many situations, and being that MVP for AEW. I get that, the ace of AEW. But even Jon Moxley needs to be wrenched back. Like, yo, where are you going with this? That's it.
He just
I know
watched the movie.
I know
That's what
exactly
happened.
where he's going with it.
Please
You guys
help
really
me.
not know where he's going with it?
I don't know, Vet. Help me. Help me.
He's gonna accept Will Ospreay into the Death Riders.
What, you think this is what's gonna happen for sure? Or are we going really Hollywood with this shit, with the movies that he's watching, that Ospreay is basically gonna be undercover in the Death Riders, right?
Well,
And
because he was kidnapped, he didn't go undercover. He didn't know he was going to get kidnapped. But look, here's the thing. We know Jon Moxley is just copying Rocky plots. So this is just the other part of Rocky 3 where Apollo Creed has to train Rocky.
right.
The enemy training the enemy type of thing.
Somewhere in Russia.
That's basically it. No, that was another movie. That's different. But I'm just saying, like, if the extent of Jon Moxley's movie plot knowledge is just Rocky 3, then this is just the Apollo Creed part. So,
gotcha.
That's what he thinks he's doing. And that's what we're going to see. So he's going to turn Will Ospreay into a dangerous weapon, and that's what's going to get him to the title. Now, let me ask you guys this. So this episode's about to go long because we need to talk about this. So should we just stop? Should we just stop knowing that they plan for Will Ospreay to win that belt at All In? Like, should we just stop knowing that? Should we pretend that we have no idea that that's what's going to happen, and we should just take each thing week by week and not jump so far ahead? Because and go right ahead and answer, Professor. Is it that, or does Tony Khan really not see how big of a flashing neon light that is? That's obvious that's where they're going. Like, it's like the exit here, we're going to Wembley, it's Will Ospreay at Wembley. Like, is it so obvious that we should just stop talking about it? Or does he not realize how obvious it is and he thinks he's gonna pop us all when he finally announces it?
The latter, for sure, for me.
I would love not to know it, Vet. I would love the story and the journey. You know me, I love that shit. But the problem with Tony is, and I could go back years ago, what did he want? He wanted his match of Okada and Omega, right? He wanted that in All In London, England. But again, Omega was hurt. So they had to wait for All In Texas. But he wants that match. So now we all know that Tony Khan wants to give Will Ospreay that feel-good moment in his home country and stuff like that. Tony wants to give the fans what they want, but he does not want to tell a proper story, or he's trying to fill some TV time. Just like I've been saying for weeks, Vet, we know we want Takeshita and Okada. It's just the journey and the destination. We know the destination is Double or Nothing. He just doesn't want to tell the story properly to get to that. That's the problem.
Well, I agree with that. But okay, let me just ask a new question. Does everybody just get to have to win a belt in their hometown then? I mean, what is that? Like, is that all that the booking means? Is like, well, we have no choice. You're in your hometown. You got to win the world title. Sorry.
This is where Vince
I don't care if you don't want it.
This is where Vince McMahon was right. You should lose in your hometown, because if you lose in your hometown, we would not expect it. Tony Khan wants to give you that feeling, that feel good, that happy ending and shit like that.
Yeah,
that's his
well,
fault.
yeah, but at the same time, Vince McMahon also would just beat you in your hometown when there was nothing on the line, just to do it, just to fuck with you.
But we need that. We need more of that. We just need more of that from Tony, just to do that, to keep us on our toes.
Yeah,
he does not want to do that.
All right. Well,
now this Apollo Creed, I can't wait for him to run on the beach with Will Ospreay. Damn, Willie, what you doing? What's the matter with you? And then Alex Winston becomes what? Adrian?
Yes, absolutely.
You can do it, Willie. You can do it.
No, she won't even be there. She'll be still working like her. She'll be forming a permanent new team with Persephone after, and worry about that. But
thank you. Okay.
All right. Well, all right. So speaking of the Death Riders, we're gonna call these the Dog Riders, because it's another one of these weird combination teams of the Death Riders and the Dogs versus the Young Bucks and the Rascals. So it's Dog Riders versus Young Rascals, and Moxley's on commentary.
What does that even mean? Dog riding.
Jimmy's too sick, Professor. His brain has been
I'm
addled. He doesn't.
Hey, hold on, Jimmy. You're a married man. You don't dog ride. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Matt. Move on. That's all I'll just say. You don't dog ride. Bullshit.
All right. Well, we don't need to talk about this match, anyways. The next thing is Lexi with Statlander and Sheeta again, and then here's Mina and Harley, and Sheeta says that we're good friends. Me and my good friend Chris Statlander are gonna beat the Divine Dominion for the tag team titles like you couldn't do. And then Harley speaks Japanese, and it was so bad I couldn't understand it, so I don't know what she said, but she said something, and then they got into a scuffle. And then Statlander went out there and beat Becca, or B3Ka.
It is Becca, but yeah. Whatever, B3Ka.
There it was. Standby match. Strong win, Statlander. Lexi is with Divine Dominion. And the Divine Dominion is like, why are we worried about these two? They don't even like each other. We're going to win. So there you go. Straight to the point. I like these ladies. Roosh versus Adam Priest. This shit went to a break. It went through a break. Are you fucking kidding me? And then Roosh finally beats him and says, "You get the Hearns." Yeah. So
my notes were different, Vet. I hate to say this, but my notes said, "Wait, Roosh versus Jamie Noble came out of retirement," because that's what I looked at.
Yep, Jamie Noble boy, looking younger and more jacked than ever.
Yeah,
yeah, and more American. Not American, but like not Southern, not as Southern. I don't know. More teeth. I don't know what it was. Okada answers Takeshita. And he says, at Double or Nothing, you lose. So there you go. Next, we have our pick 2 match. It's Persephone and Windsor versus Tekla and Dark Sky.
The Triangle of Madness.
The line of madness. It's just a 2-point line.
That's true.
Well, I mean, Julia's out there because when the ref is busy with the other 2 shenanigans, Dark Julia comes in and mists Persephone in the face, and Dark Sky hits the Dark Code Blue, and then gets a nice win.
Yeah, for once, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like they're always losing.
Tony Khan had a quandary, guys, if you did not notice. These were 2 women that beat Mercedes Moné. I'm adding more story to this. Who did Tony Khan have to pick? He had to pick between Alex Windsor beating Mercedes and then Persephone, who recently beat Mercedes, even though it has nothing to do with the Triangle of Madness. I'm just saying here, I'm adding more to the story than it needs to be. I understand this, Tommy Nice, but at least I'm trying to help Tony Khan here because he had to pick which lesser of the 2 evils. So he just picked Willie Boy's wife not to get to eat the pin. That was it.
Yeah. Or worry about where her husband is in a warehouse kidnapped somewhere.
That too.
Clone versus Jungle Jack.
Was it Jungle Juice? Well, whatever the case.
Well, Jungle Jack's one of those guys that has a lame knee finisher like Ciampa, but
He does?
Clone doesn't kick out of this one, so sorry. Willow Nightingale is the face of TBS. Anthony Bowens approaches Joe and Hook backstage, is like, look, I've been applying. You accept my application or not? And so Hook says, there's no vacancies. And Joe says, there's no vacancies because you just got the job. So they shake hands with Bowens, and now Bowens is an op.
So wait, he's the pride of the ops now?
He's the pride of the ops.
Ah, damn
Dangerous.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Professor has a problem, Josh. Go on, Ben. I'm sorry. I don't
just Hook is like, yeah, you passed the test. This is what I wanted all along. I definitely wasn't trying to keep you out.
Shit. That's all I'm just gonna.
Riveting. That's all I'm saying.
Riveting storytelling over the months. No new recruits. Where was Shibata? I remember Shibata.
No, he had the camera. See, they explain who's holding the camera, unlike the Death Riders, because when Joe was walking in with Hook, he said, "Hey, speak and spell, good to see you," which popped me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. If anybody had to speak a spell in the 80s as a child, but yeah.
Yes, I did. I watched it all.
Yeah, if you listen to the beginning of the show, you get our take. By the way,
that's right. Every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 a.m. Pacific is the relevant time zone. So, anyways, your main event is the Demand versus Jarahurt, and surprise, surprise, Ricochet's the MVP, and surprise, surprise, not the MVP. MVP's on commentary, doing his best, having fun. But as far as this match goes, as usual, Ricochet is doing all the work and having all the fun and getting everybody over, including himself, when he hits a low blow and not a Jarasalt, but not a Lion Salt, but a Rico Salt.
Oh,
for the
there
win.
we go. Nice. And surprising too, in a way, but not really. In terms of storyline, it makes sense.
No, I've been saying this Jericho has a long-term plan. That's what I'm saying, Jimmy.
No, of course.
Long-term plan. Leech and hang on and suck.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the best Leech opportunity for Jericho, because no one's gonna get mad at Jericho for doing this, because they don't like the bald Ricochet. And Ricochet does a lot on Twitter to make you not like him. So it works both ways.
Right.
Nobody loses. Everybody wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, you mean Jericho wins.
No, the one thing I'll say is Hurt Syndicate going back to an angle, which I thought they took care of the Gates of Agony, but that just never manifested right there. Maybe I might have been neuralized by Jimmy, but again, they might rehash this rivalry, but again, it is what it is on that standpoint there. Can't wait for High Nation to join.
There is a way to get around the Prof. You got to do what Vet does and start listening to your podcast, man.
Yeah, I got to listen.
Then you get around.
Go back and listen to some old reflections.
Yeah.
Well, reflections, I don't talk about anything that today.
No, but something might trigger, because you know how it is. Like, you talk about the old days, but sometimes something from the current times relates to something in your mind, and you probably make the correlation, right?
That is a good point. Yes.
You never know. You never know what you might hear listening to yourself from years ago.
It's true.
But we're done here as far as this. So in 6 years, we can listen back to this one and listen to all the fun we had talking about this bullshit.
I think we're the only ones online that shat on the Ciampa.
Probably. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely.
Because I don't need to be saying what everybody else is saying. I've already heard everybody else say that.
That's right. It's true, man. 100%. I'm proud of that, because we're not going to, keep the narrative going. I've seen this match a million times. What's so special about it? So I just want to point that out. But anyway, we are at the end. Unless there's any final thoughts from either one of you fine gentlemen. Anything else?
No. My problems are over. We're done.
It's over for this week. But till next time, though.
99 problems.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll start with you. On the Twitch, well, not tonight, but today. And if so, what are you playing?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I'll probably be on there in any case. At Opinion Haver everywhere. If you can follow me on social medias or at Hameen Media Group on YouTube and Patreon. Don't forget, just because it's Patreon doesn't mean you have to pay for everything. There's lots of free stuff on there, so please check that out if you haven't already. It would help us a lot. And those shows are every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Myself and Big Ray Hernandez will talk about NXT on the Next Level Wrestling Review. Whatever's left of NXT after the pillaging that they've just gotten of terrible people. Every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. The Impact Attack with Brandon, but we're sort of rebranding the Impact Attack because the Impact is so bad. It is so god-awful bad. It's the worst promotion in wrestling. and it's become so
So,
unbearable.
Vet, you have a problem with TNA?
I don't know if problem can cover it.
I've offered
I
you.
might have to invent a new word.
I've offered you a temporary
Maybe
solution.
it's a
though, Vet.
problem yet. But
No.
yeah, but no, it's absolutely awful. So we've taken to reviewing episodes of the Drew Carey Show, starting with the pilot. So it's gonna go with that. Eventually, we may drop Impact altogether. So
That's fucking hilarious.
that could be something to check out if you don't like TNA and you do like the Drew Carey Show. Maybe you want to stop on by every Monday.
Hey, that'd be Hall of Famer Drew Carey, no less.
That's right. WWE Hall of Fame is still wrestling related. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so check out that. Check out Wrestling with Rogers every 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Check out Stevie Richards' show every Thursday. Check out Limbin' Ain't Easy with Timmy Baltimore every time he drops a new episode. And that's just about it for me. What does everybody else got?
Well, Prof, it's off to you, man. And what's going on with the reflection?
Well, tell a friend to subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Reflection YouTube channel, where we just dropped the most recent episode, a Pro Wrestling Spotlight, greatest babyface turns. We go back to 1987. The birth of the icon Sting starts there, where he leaves Hot Stuff International. So we talk about that babyface turn angle there. Follow me on my Twitter at PWSOPRF. That's PWSOPROF. And of course, again, every Saturday, 7 a.m. drop on the audio version of the PWS Pro Wrestling Reflection episodes with myself and the Tommy Wonder. So that's it for me.
Nice, very well put. As far as I go, I've made the official comeback again after taking a week off due to sickness. I'll be back this Tuesday with good old RBV for this week in WWE, 3 p.m. Eastern, live right here on Hammy America's YouTube channel. And of course, Insanity will also be back next week with myself and Whoop Whoop Brandon, where we talk all things JCW. Vet, thank you once again, actually, for covering for me on the JCW show, which is a pleasant surprise, funny enough. And of course, I want to thank you both for doing what you had to do without me last week. And poor Dee, hopefully she didn't screw up too much, but she tried.
That's the gratitude that you show. The further you say,
no,
I hope she didn't screw up too much. You get on your hands and knees and kiss that woman's feet, you son of a bitch.
This guy, goddamn. Vet, you're on fire today, man.
We just talked about dog riding a while ago, Jimmy. Come on.
That's true. You're right. There was no dog riding last week, put it that way. But anyway, that sounds fucked too, by the way. But in saying that,
or not fucked.
Yeah, well, not. Yeah, that's true. Depends who you ask. It's definitely dangerous, but either way. But
well, there's no pride in that. But anyway, Jimmy, close the show.
I like it. That was good. Very good. Very good comeback. Well, I just also want to thank everyone in the chat for reaching out to me, saying that I'm feeling better and whatnot. I appreciate it. I felt the love. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. He is the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams, and he's the Professor Chabelo Vera Cruz. And you've been listening and watching the
Wreckage.
I got a problem, but boy.
Until next time, peace out and see you later. Peace.